Welcome to another episode. It's the Modern Black Man, joined by my beautiful co-host, Siren.
Oh,
Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you. It's Freaky Friday. I just wanted to have somebody else to talk about some of these things that I'm noticing online, whether it be good, bad, or not. Um, Man, what do you think about sexual culture in the today? Where do you think things are going, or how do you feel like things are
it's
evolving?
annoying as an open person. It's kind of annoying to me because I feel like the internet influences people to do shit that they're not really into. And at the end of the day, I feel like more people need to go touch grass. Like, I think like it's nice that we have the tools of the internet to go research different topics, but at the same time, like shit's so prevalent now. Like you got people claiming shit that they're not really into, to be honest, if you ask in my opinion.
I definitely am because I think that was probably like 5 years ago. Like everybody was on the pop up and they was with that, and now I think it's getting to kind of like a sterile place. Everybody's really into some.
You know, I changed my views on the poly thing. Not that I don't believe it exists, but I
Sure.
don't believe it exists in what like the capacity that people preach online.
Mm. Absolutely. I think that, since we're on the topic, it was a culture war. There were people that were really seeking it out, curious about it, invested in it. And there were people that were living that life. And I think that all those cultures were like lumped up and we felt like they were overexposed, maybe, or whatever it is. And now I think it's been greatly clarified or refined.
My bad if my camera is turned off. I just gotta do something real quick.
No.
People, my whole issue with the internet, why like I know I've like desensitized certain things is because I don't know. I'm 30. I'll be 31 in a month almost. Um, so for me personally, my issue with the internet is this, at least with social media, because don't get me wrong, I use Google, obviously, I use Reddit and things like that. But I feel like the internet has like it's all of us, how do I put this? I will admit that in society, all of us to an extent have sheepish behavior, but the internet
Mm,
increases that because, and like on top of that, I feel like people don't use logical thinking where, like, with the internet, so many people are selling you shit to make money. I don't care
mm.
what the topic is, they're selling you shit to keep you engaged to make money, and people are not aware of that. At the end of the day, it's just like with relationships and stuff. Why are you trusting some random person on the internet who don't like? I'm not saying that you have to go to college for everything, but they have no credentials, no degrees, no anything to really direct you. You would be over here, like, especially with the freaky stuff, thinking somebody a whole sex therapist. In reality, they just some freaky person who discovered what they like. Bitch, they can't tell you what you like. You got to go find that out for yourself.
That's a lot to unpack. I agree with a lot of that. And I also, in hearing what you're saying, I really miss credibility. Like when there was someone that I guess you would call them a guru now, but they were just knowledgeable. They
Ain't
just knew
nobody a
more.
guru. As old people say, the fuck happened to wisdom?
I mean, what happened to wisdom though? There's all this new stuff, but there are no new experts.
People online don't really, I don't say everybody online don't have like doesn't like has bad intentions, but for the most part when you look at the internet as a whole, a lot of people are not there because they really intentionally want to educate people. A lot of the people are on there because they want to make money. So that being said, a lot of them people do not have wisdom. Wisdom is like when you go talk to your like your old people, your folks who really been through shit and really want to instill that because that's their testimony through life that they've experienced. These people online doing it for clout, doing it for money. That's what I'm saying. Even with the sexual shit, a lot of people are just like even me. I have definitely toned down as I've gotten older because at the end of the day, people don't know on the internet don't even know what the fuck I'm into. To be quite honest, they're not in my personal space. I don't know them. I have a whole career and shit like that. I don't need y'all to know that I'm a freak off. I'm a freak of the sheets, bitch. Whoever with me gonna know that. Y'all don't need to know that. And at the end of the day, a lot of these people on there, like I use men and women, they seeing stuff on here. They talk about stuff. Just like with the Diddy case, like people talk about shit that they don't even fucking know, or like even on like online, people are so sheepish they follow. Like I'll use the
Yeah,
topic of ass eating. Everybody acting like ass eating is a new concept that's been around forever.
right.
So
But it's
like
in
everybody acting
vogue
brand new.
now. It's
Hmm?
in vogue now. I remember 5 years ago, very much having a conversation like this on somebody's platform, and it was just the new in vogue thing. Like you were saying, people get sheepish. Everybody wants to follow. Nobody wants to lead. Um, but yeah, on all your points, I yes, absolutely. I just miss the days when there was someone that you could trust, someone that you knew what they were speaking from had credibility. That's what's missing for me in a lot of these um, experts, professionals, whatever, what have you. And then you also got to remember when you're watching people's platforms. For me, I don't like when all they do is agree and echo the same thing or just go down an agenda list. There's no actual thought, critical thinking, or discourse.
And it's a one, and it's like you look the advice that's going on the internet. It's a like it's tailored to just whatever I say goes or whatever like is that's what I said. It's just too damn trendy all the time or this goes and that goes. Like people gotta have their own minds about shit. And that's one thing I don't like about them, even with like politics and anything like that. Even like the disagreements with like certain like celebrity topics and stuff like that, it makes you automatically a bad person if you don't agree with stuff. But that's the zest of life. We need countering arguments on anything. Even if I don't agree with it and I don't believe in it, we need that.
Yeah.
So it just be overwhelming. I don't know. Like I said, I've disconnected with a lot of stuff on the internet because you got to go touch grass, especially when we talk about like things like sexual experiences. I have a personal issue with not people seeking advice on things per se or like researching things, but more so people falling into the trap of certain things or believing certain ideals that you need to go discover on your own, especially when we're talking about like physical pleasure. Everything does not work for everybody.
I want to talk about both of those points.
It's like the rose toy. I don't
Mhm.
own a rose toy.
Have you ever tried it?
Don't need. You know what I hate about the rose toy? People made the rose seem like it was some kind of like amazing invention. Clitor a toy that basically puts clitoral suction on. They've
Yep.
been on the market forever. I wish I would have created a fucking rose. It only took off because it looked like a rose. There's nothing
Right.
special about that. I own the same concept of it, and
Yeah.
I brought it way before.
Yeah.
They were overpriced and overmarked. Hell no, I don't own a rose.
I hear you on that. It's exactly like you said. People go with the new design, but it's the
And they don't
same.
know shit. You know how many
No.
friends of mine I have who like I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with online shopping, obviously I do it, but so easily influenced by online, you brought a rose and have never walked into an actual adult store physically.
Mm,
That's weird. It's weird.
that's a really good point, though. But that's our culture. People aren't comfortable with that. That's what I was going to say earlier,
But you're
because
comfortable
we're so
buying a rose from Sex by Sheila off of Instagram who you don't know shit about? Okay.
right. Yes, exactly.
You don't even know how to use it. You know how many people I know who got roses and stuff, got toys in their house that they brought offline. They don't know how shit about how to use them. That don't make no
Right.
sense.
It's the state of affairs. Um, because we don't thrive on relations and connections. People struggle to keep their connections. They struggle to value their ships, relationships, friendships. It's just the culture that we've created.
Yeah, it's toxic.
That's a good word for it. So I do have a couple questions that I want to propose and review with you. Um, the first one, tell me your thoughts on this. What do you remember from your first sexual experience? What do you remember
Mm.
from your first time?
Oh, that's really personal.
That is really personal, isn't it? So instead of that, I had it written kind of eloquently. But do you remember what that was like the nostalgia around it? Because it is the most intimate situation for a lot of people, right? Your first time.
Mine wasn't all that. I ain't gonna cap to you.
You said it wasn't all that.
No.
Yeah, I remember my first time, obviously being the I guess the male in the situation, or with somebody that didn't want to do nothing with me. I remember doing so much just to make it happen and being genuinely convinced and just walking away from it a little less than satisfied. So I think a lot of us have that in common. Is what I was thinking when I was drafting this up. So is that true? You think we had that in common? It was kind of lackluster the
Yeah,
first.
I mean, you also don't know what to expect. You don't
Mhm.
know what you're doing. I mean, I told somebody earlier in regards to another topic that's going on in the world about how, like, as a human, it's fortunate but unfortunate. You have to go through things and kind of get it out the mud to learn what you like.
Yes,
Um, so yeah, I think when you think about first times, you don't really know. You don't really know. I think it depends on partner. It also depends on a lot of factors. I haven't really asked too many people about their first times.
yeah,
Just because it's kind of, you know,
it's very intimate.
yeah, it's really intimate. You don't know people like life experiences, traumas, and things like that, like what their first times were. Um, so you
And I
know,
had it written a little bit better because the way that I wanted to craft it was about the nostalgia, and I did want to make it a little bit about that nostalgia as well as I guess juxtaposition of inexperience.
no, I get it. I think
You
for
know,
me personally, when I think about that question, a better question for me, not knocking your question because I think it's a good question, but a better question for me, especially as adults and learning what we like and pleasure, would be like your first time when you discovered something that you enjoyed. Your
hmm
first time being comfortable to communicate. Because I know with women, that's a hard thing. Communicating to a partner what you like and doing that. And I think that's really, really important for people to learn, especially when it comes to sex. Especially, I think it's National Masturbation Month or it was day not too long ago.
I think it was
Um,
yesterday because my friend sent me a weird text message.
oh, things like that. I mean, I think more people need to explore with themselves and need
Mhm.
to touch and explore and understand. We have a lot of adults who are really not educated, you know, in that sector.
Absolutely.
That's one reason I'm not no not a pick me, but I think we have a lot of women, especially with how women are raised, who they're saying about the orgasm gap, but a lot of those women don't really know what they like. They went off of what a man tells them they like, and okay, well I like it too, and no, bitch, you don't like that.
Right. That might be a good segue for our second one because I consistently see how sex for women is not as pleasurable as it is for men. Um, Anal
Always true.
kind of seems like the obvious no brainer of that.
That's not exactly true.
But in my experience as of late, especially, I think that maybe we're neglecting women in pleasure because we don't try to stimulate them fully. We try to just go for, I guess, our pleasure or basic with just the basic penetrative missionary type
I
stuff. You know?
think I think more men need men's problem is pussy will always be their kryptonite and they move too
Mm,
fast because we both how do I put this? The starting point for both of us is different and the end point is different. So when it comes to men, they turned on very fast. A woman, it might take her time to load. Like men are like a little Caesar's pizza. Women are like a Italian, freshly made, authentic pizza that takes time to cook up. Most of the
yeah.
time. Most of the time. Now when it comes to the post coital things, some men, but there's longer refraction period versus women. So I think when it comes to men, um, taking out, like, especially we talk about anal, people make anal sex like it's like the worst thing in the world. Don't get me wrong, it is a different sensation.
Mm,
But I think it's something, I'm just gonna use not too deeply, personal experience. The difference in doing it with a partner who is taking their time and also my background, and also doing things and understanding, like, people who are really into anal, who understand things like anal training and things like that, and the foreplay, not just like foreplay leading up to sex, but foreplay that goes into that activity. It's a really big difference than someone just trying to shove something in your ass.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's the fantasy for men is that it's just you know an object. It's not your booty hole. It's it's the pleasure socket or something like that. It's the vortex of pleasure, and irregardless, there's a whole human attached to it.
Exactly. So, I'm not saying all never all men because not all men, but you just have men who don't have that, but you also have, like I said, from a woman's perspective, women who don't speak up for themselves in sex. It's okay to walk away from a situation. It's okay to say, hey, you're not listening to me. Like, this is not enjoyable because it's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. It's not just about, I mean, I think about right now with the Diddy and Cassie situation in that case and hear her say, well, I did the freak offs because I loved him. That thinking needs to get out of a lot of people's heads when we're talking about sex.
BS. It's BS. It's just so she can have a negative hook in her target. I feel because I
No,
think we
I
talked
take
about this
it's
before.
I feel like that's a very genuine statement because you have a
Mm,
lot of women who do that. I'm not saying that makes them victims, but that is
shoot.
something that you have to get out of where you start valuing yourself and your pleasure and your feelings and making boundaries and finding partners and rejecting those partners who don't listen to you. Those are important things. A lot of
Mhm.
women don't know that because a lot of women are raised under the gaze of impressing a man. When in reality, you are still a person. There's nothing wrong with loving and caring about your partner, but I ain't gotta do every fucking thing that you tell me to do. Or if it's not enjoyable.
It's so true, but that's the delusion of male fantasy,
And
right?
it's yeah, and men need to unlearn that. And I'm not saying
Yeah.
every sexual pattern partner is not going to be compatible. I hate to say it in relationships.
Mm,
There might be things that both of y'all don't agree with and trying. Um, but more people, men and women, need to understand what they like and need to have genuine conversations. That's another problem. I'm not anti hookup culture necessarily, but I'm somewhat anti because there's not genuine conversations, even if it is just play. There's
mm.
not conversations. There are people out here who are doing things that they don't enjoy. And that's why I say, even with masturbation, that is an important thing for you to figure out what you like, to discover what you like, to go do that research. Yeah, you have those open partners, but it also takes slowing down. We don't have to hop in the bed. I ain't got to impress you. 'Cause at the end of the day, too many people, oh, he gonna be impressed by this pussy. Girl, that pussy basic as fuck. Excuse my language. She gonna be impressed by the dick. Wait, because you got 9 inches, it's still not trash. Because no, you don't know how no stroke game. Very superficial things.
Sure. I think that unfortunately, from my observations, we're in a largely sexless culture, and it's
Superficial. I won't say sexless. Sexless. There's a lot of sex going on. You see the STD rates going on. There's a lot of
mm,
surface level sex without genuine conversation. Like I said, even if it's just a hookup, people don't give a fuck about their community anymore on all levels, whether it's political, whether it's economical, societal, and sexual, to where
yeah,
we can have these conversations and still care for each other. Yes, it's totally fine if you not want a relationship, you just want to get down, but there's still conversation needs to go into that conversation about your STD status, conversations like people are very selfish, and it's not really because we live in a gooner society on many levels. Nothing is
absolutely.
erotic anymore. It doesn't give you time to load up for it and really enjoy it. It's just erotic and straight to the point. And people are used to that because that's the dopamine hits you get in life with social media, with TikTok, with TV. When you want to buy something, don't worry if you have the money. You got Klarna. Instant dopamine hit. So when it comes to people's interactions with humans, that's what the same thing shit they want, but that shit is not genuine. It's not real.
Absolutely. I mean, you say that it's not very erotic. It's just exotic, right? It's just opportunity.
It's not
So
even there's another it's erotic versus pornographic.
yeah, I mean, but that's like transactional, the pornographic. That's everyday. That's the superficial. That's what gets people in. That's the
I won't even
market.
say transit because you can go right now on X for free as long
Yeah,
as you're over X. If you lie about your age, you're gonna see some pornography for free.
but listen though, that's good marketing because giving it away is how you make addicts.
But when you
It's
think
like
about
New
the
Jack City.
real, but when you think about um, real interactions, and I'll just say like back when I talked to like my grandmother and mother about fashion, about like wearing something that's more coverage, but
Mm.
still accentuating your curves and things like that, and how that entices people. Versus now, like I said, you walk outside and you get a cheap ass Shein dress, you might see titties in your face. That's erotic versus pornographic to me.
Yeah, I mean we're desperate because there's no originality, there's no creativity, and there's no connection. So um, I think this might be a good uh, closing segue, but I think you were hipping me to some game. It sounds like STD rates are going up.
So people have a lot of fucking sex.
Wait, I mean I didn't know this. So are you saying that the rates are like going up?
You they're up, and not even just that. It's a lot of different factors. Because I'll use like even the example of like gonorrhea.
Hmm.
Gonorrhea is getting to a point where like the basic medication, I don't know what the medication is for it, but it's not, it's becoming untreatable
Resistant.
almost. Yeah.
Hmm.
But that also falls into other topics of public health education. But again, I hate to say this because I love the internet, but I don't. People are fucking stupid. Because I do this. If you know any, I don't care about saying this. Somebody made a joke about this to me. If you know any nurse on earth, do not ever text them or call them and tell them that you feel better and you're going to stop taking antibiotics. Because in reverse, we will tell you why you never do that. Because just because you feel better, you always take the full course. Because if when you stop the course, that virus, you might feel better, it hasn't really died off yet, and that's how viruses learn how to fight and become resistant.
Oh.
Plus keep in mind, just from a not conspiracy, this is true, look at the Medicaid and Medicare cuts and everything like that, they don't really put a lot of money into researching certain pharmaceuticals. So if these viruses, these STDs, these STIs become resistant, and these drug companies aren't getting money from the government anymore to do research and nowhere else, they don't have any incentive anymore, nor the money or funds to research this shit anymore. So a lot of people are
Oh,
going to be shit out of luck if things keep going the way they go.
that's an excellent point. I mean, yeah, that's an
And it's
excellent
going to
point.
get worse for our non-insured people out there. Because I mean, again, everybody likes sex. I get it. Not everybody, but a lot of majority of people. It's on the Maslow's hierarchy of needs,
That's
pretty
right.
low at the bottom. But when we're thinking about, okay,
No, no, it'd
government
be
ain't trying to
high.
fund, huh?
It'd be high on Maslow's. Physiological needs are the highest. That's the first level. So
Yeah, that's
this is
I'm saying. But
vital.
like you, it's like a pyramid. So there's the
Yeah.
smallest layer, and then the bottom. Like I know
Mhm.
that if you reverse it, yeah. But when you think about right now how scary it is, where you have a government who doesn't want to grant money to that kind of research, when you have a government now who's going to take make red tape for those who need Medicaid, Medicare to get on it. Think of how many people will not be getting tested anymore. Think of how many people will not be able to access those drugs anymore. It is going to get bad. People need to really get out of the loop of the shit they hear on social media. Because I hear it all the time with, oh, if you have herpes, take this herb. Dr. Sabi said it. Who the
Yeah.
fuck is Dr. Sabi?
You know I love Dr. Sadie. I am going to be picking up on this on another episode though, because I spent.
I don't like Dr. Sabi. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
That's all right. I spent a
I'm sorry.
large, chunk of my life dedicated to social work, dedicated to giving back to and helping communities. And I'm gonna have a video here very soon talking about some tragic things that are happening. And this is
Mm,
definitely going to be incorporated because this is a part of the
it's very
systemic.
real.
It really is. Like I was in Indiana a few years ago when there was an AIDS crisis. Mike Pence was the governor at the time, and
The man who hates Planned Parenthood, which I understand why people have beef with Planned Parenthood, but they do a lot of good.
he let a lot of people catch AIDS in Indiana. We
Sure.
were there on the ground and et cetera, et cetera. But yes, man. It's very important. So that's what all these, that's what all this is about. It's just awareness, information, empowering ourselves, and doing something different, making different decisions to get better outcomes, because these are real things that we do in our everyday lives, um, and hopefully we can save a life. I don't know.
Mhm. We'll see.
Yeah, you already know it. Um, with that being said, do you have anything that you want to promote? Any announcements you want to make? Anything that you want to say before we this one?
Oh, I don't have any announcements. I'm just doing the regular day to day 9 to 5 and just trying to survive.
Yeah,
That's it. Mhm.
you making it happen. You're doing that.
I'm still above ground. That's all I can say. Mhm.
Amen. But please read the articles, visit themodernblackman.com. Continue to check us out on all social media platforms. We're going to continue to push out a lot of content this summer. So stay with us till the next episode. Peace.